Well, anyway, we continue our journey into this thing called the power of intention. And the power of intention was a wonderful gift that Dr. Wayne Dyer left with us before he took off into bigger and better things. And in it, he's just trying to get across to you and to me how empowered we are, how enriched we are, how blessed we are, and how we have everything within ourselves to be as victorious as all get up as we choose to cooperate with the creative process in our lives. And I love it. And it's not a thick book at all. It's a smallish kind of book. And it's what we're supposed to be studying as we move through these Sundays. And if you haven't got one, I think we still have some left in the bookstore. But again, we're looking at the power of intention in a metaphysical way. So intention in this regard, again, is a power. It is a force. It is an infinite intelligence that moves. And when it does, it creates something, and it's always happening in you and in me. Now, intention can be conscious, and it can also be unconscious. You and I want it to be conscious. We want to be consciously intending something. And so to be really living in intention, which is what today is all about, being in intention, being consciously in intention, you and I must first have become persuaded of something. Persuasion must have gripped us. We must be persuaded that something is so. Then we must feel that something is so, and think that something is so, and act as though something is so. And in his wonderful work, The Marriage Between Heaven and Hell, William Blake sets the question, and he says, does a firm intention of a thing being so make it so? And then he answers it, and he says, well, all the poets believe it does. And he says that throughout all the ages of imagination, firm intention has moved mountains, but many of us are incapable of a firm persuasion of anything. Many of us are incapable of a firm persuasion of anything. So the question for you and for me today is, am I part of the many? Am I part of the many? Because I can tell you in my own experience of life, I've set many, many intentions, and many of them have never been realized. And many of them took far too long to be realized, because way back then I didn't know what I know now. But now, you see, because you set your intention, you kind of put it out there and leave it to fate. Fate will take care of it. No, it won't. You and I have to take care of it. So the whole idea is that intention is based on faith. Faith in the firm persuasion that we've realized. Faith in the co-creative process of life. Faith that this is so already, and now I'm just going to open the way for it to be realized in my life through thinking like it's so, feeling like it's so, acting like it's so, and maintaining my stance that it is so all of the time. Now, setting intentions is not something we do once in a blue moon, or we might think we do. There you go. And at the end of the year is when we start setting all kinds of intentions for the coming year. It's like we never have done this before. But, you have to know, and I have to know, that we're always in a state of intention. And when it's unconscious, that means we're leaving life to random happening, and it will be what it will be. And that's dangerous, risky. It's like rolling the dice. It may or may not be for your good. Now, set intention is conscious intention. And so I make up my mind about something, and I stay in that awareness until it happens, come what may. No matter what, I'm going to stay thinking this, feeling this, knowing this, until this happens. Because that's the way every good thing has ever happened. People like Alexander Bell lived in intention. So did Ford live in intention. So did Edison live in intention. So did the Wright brothers live in intention. So did Steve Jobs live in intention. That's how they realized what they realized. Do you think that when the Wright brothers were thinking in terms of flight, that their focus, their consciousness was on being earthbound all the time? They never thought for a minute of anything with regard to being earthbound. They were in the sky all the time as they were moving into realizing this idea of human flight. So they were not rooted on the ground. They were not firmly fixed on the ground. They didn't think for a minute that this was impossible. They just saw themselves in the sky flying, somehow, some way. And that's how you and I must support our intention. As ridiculous as it may seem, as impossible as it may appear, if you've had the intention, there's something in you that knows that you can realize it. There's something in you that wants you to realize it. There's something in you moving through you to help you and assist you to realize it. And so we have this awesome empowerment. And what do we do with it? We sit on it. Now, I used to think it was ridiculous when I used to hear the story of the 3 talents, the men who were given talents. One was given this much, another much, and another much. The fellow who was given the 1 talent buried it because he was afraid he was going to lose it and his master would be annoyed with him. The others went away and increased what they had been given. And we think he was stupid. But we do the very same thing. We have this empowerment, but we sit on it, we bury it, we don't use it. Oh, what if it doesn't work? What if it's not so? And so, here's what in the chapters that we're looking at this week, the message is, if we want to live in intention, if we want to be in intelligent cooperation with the creative process, and that word intelligent is important, then there are things that we must look to and things that we have to do. And number one thing is, and it's like as if these come out of the blue, you're stuck at the idea of intention and so on, and the next thing comes up, it says, if you really want to set your intention and live in intention and have the realization of your intention, you really have to stop being offended. Well, what does stopping being offended have to do with me realizing my intention, for heaven's sake? You have to stop being offended. And it doesn't matter what example is used, the one thing is coming up. And the one thing that's coming up all the time is, look, your intention will be realized as beautifully, as quickly, to the degree that you are not ego-driven, but rather spirit-led. That's what all of those questions mean. You gotta stop being ego-driven and start truly being spirit-led, because the ego is beautiful and wonderful in balance, but the ego hangs out in the world of duality. This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, you're a winner, you're a loser, all of that kind of stuff. And it costs us a lot of energy and distraction and worry and concern, because the ego has a way of worrying us a lot. Because when we operate in the field of duality, that's what happens. You're going, It's like the little kitten I saw once watching a tennis match. You see, and that's how we are when we're ego-driven. Now, this is nothing to do with ego bashing, because I love my ego. I love your ego. It's what makes you you and me uniquely. But it has to be in balance and in check. And so, when we operate at that level of allowing ourselves to be offended, which is not a great energy. When somebody's being offensive, you don't really feel great. The energy around that is not very pleasant, to say the very least. If you and I accept that and become offended, then we are increasing the toxic energy out of which offense flows. And we are feeling worse. We are deciding that we have something to be offended about, and that somebody has power over us to offend us when they don't, unless we have it happen. I can remember the story about Buddha once when he was being berated and ridiculed and badly treated by a group of people at one time. And his disciples got sick of it. They said, "For God's sake, what are you going to do about this? Look at the way you're letting them treat you." And he stays in his spiritual poise and composure, and he responds and he says, "If someone gives you a gift and you don't receive it, to whom does it belong?" And so you see, there's the difference between being spirit-led and ego-driven. Is there an offender? Is there an offended? Not in spirit, there isn't. There's no such thing in spirit. This is a human play of things. And so you and I have to understand, as it is written in the book, The Power of Intention, that allowing ourselves to be offended weakens us, takes away from us our sense of wholeness and selfhood and sovereignty and poise. And that's not a good thing. Not only that, but what does it do? It throws us into the game of war. Believe you me, it throws us into the game of war. Attack and defend, attack and defend, attack and defend, attack and defend. And it's just not good for us. So that's why we are told, resist not evil. And that doesn't mean, turn yourself into a dish rag and allow everybody to walk all over you. Not at all. It just means maintain your composure and take it higher. Don't go to the lowest common denominator. Take it up to the highest common denominator. If you give it no energy, it cannot keep the fire going. There's nothing to fuel it, and it will dissipate itself. It will dissipate itself. And so if you're not encouraging it, it's not going to grow in strength. It will weaken and dissipate itself. These are hard rules for perfection, but let me tell you, when you and I apply them, the sweetness of it, the joy of it, the peacefulness that results, the sense of sovereignty that we feel, the sense of integration and at one-ment and at harmony and in union with all of life and living in a very good way. Because believe you me, all of us have to understand this. Every single thought and feeling I entertain and every action I participate in affects all of life, all people everywhere. All of it is affected by how I'm responding to my life's circumstances and situations. Not just me, I'm not the only one affected, but all of life, and every person is too. Gosh, oh golly gee, what a responsibility that is. And only those who are spirit-led can live up to this awareness and understanding. So be not offended. Let's try it out and see how much of the week we can get through without being offended. Anybody want to take odds on that? We could make money. Well, my money is on you, and my money is on me because of Spirit empowering us to be able to respond. You see, there are some people who have to be, the next one is, again, what has being an intention to do with giving up the need to win all the time? It's the next point in this. There are several points. There are those amongst us who want to win all the time, no matter what. We want to win, no matter what. And we're out to win, no matter what. And we will win by ever means it takes for us to win, some of us. That's where the ego is really running rampant, you see. Because we think that we are victorious when we're winning. And we think that we are such losers when we don't win. We're into the duality again, winners and losers. Now, the ego-driven will participate in that game. Spirit-led people will not. Spirit-led people will get up in the morning, they'll get out there, they'll do their very best that they can do. Some days their best will be amazing. Some days not so hotsy-totsy, depending upon life circumstances. But at night they can go to sleep knowing, today I did my very best no matter what. And so some days, see, humanly speaking, you can't win all the time anyway. So when you lose, you're going to bottom out. If you're one of those people that has to win all the time, you're going to feel dreadful. And you're going to get more, next time I'm going to knock his lights out. And I don't mean that literally. I don't mean that literally. So the thing about this is understanding there are no winners or losers in the realm of metaphysics and spirituality. None whatsoever. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. None of us are winners and losers. We are the image and likeness of our source, our creator, filled with infinite possibility all of the time. All of the time. We are victors all of the time, no matter what the circumstances are. So I don't know, depending upon biorhythms or Mercury being in retrograde or whatever the hell else is going on out there that people believe in, our energy will be up or down or out or over, in or out or all around the place or integrated. Some days it'll be more glorious than others. So what? All that is required of you and for me to stay in our intention is to do the best that we can do under whatever circumstances we find ourselves and are in. That's all. And then when you do that, always know you're triumphant. You are a victor if you want to play that game. You see, it's never about winning or losing the game. It's always about how you play the game. That's what it's about. It's never about winning or losing. So I feel heartsore for those when their team doesn't win and they're brokenhearted. They're brokenhearted, sighing and a sobbing. I mean, it's supposed to be fun, and then appreciating the ones for that day who had their energies together, lined up in a way that calls them to be called winners, and being okay with it. Question is, you played the game, you love to play the game, did you enjoy playing the game, did you have fun playing the game, are you glad that you played the game, and so on. And feel good about whatever the result is. You see, there's where non-attachment to outcome comes in. Oh my gosh, how is our scorecard on non-attachment to outcome these days? Set that aside of the power of intention and see how we're doing. It's a scary prospect anytime you look at your scorecard for being non-attached to outcome, because we all really have been taught that we must win. We must win. We must be number one. We must bring home the prize. We must bring home the trophy. And we're judged by how many trophies we've accumulated, you see, how many notches we have on our belts and so on. And it's so nonsensical a game that we all participate in to some degree or another. It's sad when you really think about it and you think to yourself, and I know I'm in the position of understanding that when you help people into their transitional state and moving into their next experience, none of that is on their minds and none of that matters to them, not at all. Nobody's talking about, gosh, I lost that trophy way back in 1999, and honest to Pete, it's really troubling me even now. I should have won that. It was mine to win, and I should have. No, none of that's going on. What's going on is I want to touch the hearts of everybody who's meant something to me. I want to come completion with that. I want to be in good rapport with my loved ones, and I want to make amends with those who might need to make amends. And that's what's going on. Now, why are you and I going to be waiting until the moment of our transition to take care of that? It would make our transition all the more glorious and beautiful and grand if we took care of it now. What are we waiting for? What is your intention with regard to that? Are you going to empower yourself now by, completing what needs to complete? Remember, if you don't sort out what you need to sort out with the people you have a thing with in this lifetime, you're going to get an opportunity to do it in the next. And it'll be even more strenuous then, because it'll be what you're hauling in plus whatever turns up in the next experience. So, my dear ones, it is given to you and it is given to me as images and likeness of our Creator, as endowed by the Holy Spirit of life itself, the law of life itself, that is there to serve us and bring through the good that we desire if we are in cooperation with it. Well, if that's the case, why wouldn't we be there on that page saying, absolutely yes? I am open, I am receptive to divine guidance. I am open and I am receptive to my good. I am open and I am receptive to all the help that I can be given from within and without to set my intentions, be in my intentions, and realize my intentions, and know that I wouldn't have an intention if I wasn't supposed to see it through and manifest it. Thousands and millions of people are doing this. Why don't we know that we can be part of the thousands and millions of people that are doing this, and just do it? Just do it. It's all energy. It's all energy. It's all about conscious energy. The energy that's going on within me, that's why we have to keep watching our self-talk. Because if your self-talk is not matching your intention, it's not going to happen. Your self-talk and your intention must be in alignment, must be co-joined, must be in unison with each other. So let us go into this week seeing how well we do with bringing our self-talk in line with our intention, watching with regard to whether we're allowing ourselves to get offended or whether we want to scrap in a game wherein we have to win. Those are the three things that call us this week. I know we're up for the challenge, or it wouldn't be given to us. I know as a consequence of responding, we will have a great, good week. And again, I would recommend to you, if you haven't got that little book, The Power of Intention, oh gosh, it's a great book of wisdom, and it would be a great and very real and present help as we move through these weeks of getting a deeper sense of the power and the presence within us that is available to us to use every day. Now, to God, to good, to life, always be the glory and the power in you, through you, by means of you, forever. And so it is.